So just really quick, effectively what this is showing is that this month this month and then the contracts for purchasing oil for the next 2 years
for delivery in
are
July 23.
extremely elevated. So, pretty much what it's saying is that the market is pricing European energy even in 2024 that you purchase and lock in today
Yeah.
as being much, much higher than, the mean or the average prior to this crisis. So very, very bearish, very scary. And like you said, 2 years of elevated energy prices, like how long can Europe sustain this really? Like how long can they do that? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And the European narrative right now, if you ask the globalists, they're not stopping, right? They're going full bore into these sanctions, and they're ready to crash your economy. But maybe they're lying to us. Maybe they're lying to us. That's the next story here. Let me pull up this that is the Financial Times article. I'm just going to read through this real quick, and Christian, stop me if I'm droning on or whatever, but there's some really important points in this article. So, European governments have eased back on efforts to curb trade in Russian oil, delaying a plan to shut Moscow out of the vital Lloyd's of London maritime insurance market and allowing some international shipments amid fears of rising crude prices and tighter global energy supplies. The EU announced a worldwide ban on the provision of maritime insurance to vessels carrying Russian oil 2 months ago, expecting coordinated action with the British government. However, the UK is yet to introduce similar restrictions. UK participation is pivotal to the effectiveness of any such ban because London is at the center of the maritime insurance industry. Meanwhile, Brussels in late July amended some curbs on dealing with state owned Russian companies, citing concerns over global energy security. So they're citing this concern over global energy security. They're over supplies, global energy supplies. They're supposed to really crush Russian exports by refusing to insure the vessels. And we actually saw this early in the conflict in the Black Sea. Some of the exports coming out of like Crimea and out of Odessa and things, they weren't able to, the ships weren't going to sail in there because they couldn't get insurance to go into a war zone. And now they were going to apply that through the main player, which is London, apply that to all Russian exports. And that was supposed to be their big kind of chess move that they moved into checkmate. We got you. But that's not really the case. So let's continue reading. A joint UK-EU prohibition on maritime insurance would constitute the most comprehensive restriction to date on Russian oil, ending access to much of the global tanker fleet for Moscow's exports. But U.S. officials have expressed concern that an immediate global ban on maritime insurance would push up prices by pulling millions of barrels of Russian crude and petroleum products off the market. European and British officials told the Financial Times in May that the UK had agreed with the EU to coordinate a ban on insuring Russian oil cargoes. However, Britain's latest sanctions against Russia, approved by Parliament just last month in July, only prohibit providing insurance to vessels carrying Russian oil to the UK, and only after December 31st. The legislation was introduced after the government promised to outlaw the import of Russian oil from the end of the year, but does not ban the provision of services to shipments from Russia to other countries, UK officials said. So, wow, this actually is a big development. Everybody was expecting these sanctions to, get tighter and crank down on the Russian economy and Russian export of oil. But the UK surprised everybody and they said, no, we're just going to not insure those shipments to the UK itself.
It's crazy though, because it just shows one how toothless these sanctions are, but also it just shows how willing the UK is to pretty much throw their own people under the bus to virtue signal. Like,
Yeah.
hey, they're gonna strip out the effectiveness of the sanctions because they're unwilling to give up that international business opportunity. But they will still, expose their people to higher prices. That way they could appear as though they're doing something. It's just absolutely pathetic. It just shows how misaligned the incentives are. Like these politicians in no way are trying to help their people. Like what the actual hell is that?
Absolutely. Well, the Russia called their bluff.